Hi, I'm just going to do a bit of what we require to make some coilovers. We have a grinder, a metric basher meter, a tooth remover, and an El Cheapo eBay kit. Okay, what I'm going to do here is do a little bit of a video on turning. This is the lower arm, the part of the front suspension of a TR7. Obviously the spring sits up in here, shock absorbers down inside, and then the cap out of the car. Just to this one here, I have started cutting off this perch. All I did was put a series of cuts and flared that over. Then I need to grind this down so I can fit this perch. Sits in there. Okay, and then obviously the new shock absorber sits in here, which comes out through there. This is my adjustable camber kit out of a Nissan Silvia. That sits up in there. Okay, normally the spring, as I say, sits on that perch. It is now. I'll use this collar, which I've split. I haven't opened it yet. Slide that down onto, using roughly the brake hose connector. Sit that on there and tack weld it to this shaft. This perch then sits down on top of that, and being adjustable, I'll probably end up making this piece about half that size, but you lower the spring. And then you can have your front suspension at whatever setting you like, with whatever spring you like. This spring here is a 500, I think. It's a King spring, 550, made in Brisbane. There you go, King springs. They're good. I've got 500 in my track car, and the 550 will be fine. This is going into a track car. Alistair doesn't know about it yet, but this will be. He's getting his engine done at the moment, so I promised him at some stage that I'd make some coilovers for him. And I thought, rather than just talk about it, I'd make a little video of these components. This is from an El Cheapo eBay set of Honda Civic. Lowering. The springs are not suitable because they're only very short, but for $100 I got 4 of these. Beautiful. And it will allow me to raise and lower the springs as required. On my road car I put some of these, which are 5 millimeters per kilogram. No, that's not right. 5 kilogram per millimeter. I think that works out to a bit over 300 pound, and that works really good on the road. On my track car I got 450 or something. Yeah, whatever, 500. Anyway, I'll take some more video along the way. What I've got to do is grind this down so that sleeve, it will sleeve over that, but it's just too much over this weld. So I'll grind that gently off. Cut these in half, slide it on here, tack it on, put the perch on, and then assemble the strut in the car. I mount this. I've got to change the whole stud pattern is a little bit too large for the TR7, but all I do is change these 2 points and lower them in to the, there's only a few 10 millimeters or something like that. If I do one, mount that in the car. I'll show you what that looks like on my track car. Hang on. This is slightly different setup, but this has given me camber as well as caster. Chris Swingler made up this top mount for me. In my road car, I've got those only set up for camber. Yeah. Anyway, see how we go. Okay, as you can see, I have ground this perch, the factory perch. Cut a whole lot of slots, broke this off, ground lightly around the shaft of the shock absorber, the strut. Then I cut that pipe, opened it up a bit so I could slide it down, sit that on top of the for a height for the top of the brake line connector. This then I tack weld that. That sits on top of there. Goes in there. Obviously, that's the plug, the factory plug. All that. You know, you put your new adjustable shock absorbers. That sets down in there. Then I put a oh, hang on, I'll have to stop this for a moment. Okay, I'll start again. The spring sits on top of the new perch height. This, I'll have to drill a hole through this to the size of the shaft. I won't drill that because I'm not sure what the shock absorbers that Alistair has got. I don't want to pre-drill this. Sits, obviously slides down there. That sits up in there, and then that boss there sits on top of the of that top mount there, and sits inside there. You have to imagine that plate is on here. Now this has got a pillow bearing in it, which will allow me to adjust the angle of the strut to the top mounting in the car. So it's a bit stiff, that pillow mounting in there, pillow bearing, get the words right. Anyway, that's how you do it. Come on, Brian, you can do this. There, it's easy. And you can then too stiff, go and buy a set of new springs, raise, lower your front end, whatever you want to do now. Instead of mucking around with the only thing I found is the tyre in the factory car. It's on this side, of course. The tyre sits down here. Because we're lowering, effectively lowering where the tyre is in relation to here, it's very close to the spring. The tyre is almost touching the spring, if not touching the spring, depending on your offset. Just put a spacer on your disc, move it out 6 mil, or get a 6 mil spacer and give you clearance. Anyway, Yeah, this is really quite a simple thing to do if you want to play around with your front end shock absorbers and your ride height and increase your front rate suspension and all sorts of things. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Bye.